In today's video, I'm going to share with you an amazing chess opening trick by which you can gain significant advantage in the first few moves. This secret trick is also called the fried liver attack. So stay tuned till the end, and while watching this video, if you have any questions or doubts, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. I will be happy to answer and help you out. So without further ado, let's get started. Before starting, please keep in mind that you can apply this trick only if you are white. So let's start with the opening moves first. You play pawn to e4, your opponent plays pawn e5, then knight f3 and knight c6. Then you take out your white bishop to c4. This is a very popular opening and I'm sure you must have seen this opening position many times in your games. Today's trick revolves around this opening. It is black's turn now and this move is very crucial. A very common move that you can expect from black here is knight to f6. This is called the two knights defense. If you place this move, you are ready to go. That's exactly what you wanted. Here's where you start setting up your trap. Now you have to play knight to g5. By playing this move, you are attacking black's weakest pawn on f7 and also threatening to gain significant amount of material. So black has to somehow give additional support to this pawn or block the bishop from attacking. Since supporting the pawn is just not possible, black has to block this bishop and play the move pawn to d5. Now you should take with your pawn and play d5. Now there are a few variations from here. I'll try to cover all the main lines so that you have an idea on how to win from different positions. I'm not covering each and every move because that is practically not possible. What I'm going to show you is all the best possible moves that you can expect from your opponent and how you can respond to those moves. I'll cover this trick in detail, so I'm sure if you watch this video till the end, you'll become an expert at playing the fried liver attack. Okay, so basically there are two good moves that you will see from here. First, let's cover the most likely move. Now since black is a pawn down, so he will obviously try to even out and recapture your pawn with his knight. Hence the move knight to d5. Now it's time to surprise your opponent. So you will play this beautiful sacrifice, that is knight to f7. As you can see now, black is left with no option. He will have to capture the knight with his king, otherwise your knight can easily capture either the queen or rook in his next move. Black has now also lost his right to castle. It's your turn, so now you play queen to f3. It's check to black. Black can't block with his knight because it is pinned by the bishop. If black tries to bring his queen in between, you can easily capture the knight with your bishop. So basically black will have to move his king. If he moves to g8, bishop captures the knight, check, queen captures check, bishop blocks, and finally queen captures the bishop and it's checkmate. If black moves to e7, e8 or g6, you can easily capture the knight with your bishop. So those are not such good moves for black. The best move for black would probably be to move his king to e6 so that he can support his knight. If he plays this, all you have to do is play knight to c3. This puts additional pressure on the d5 knight. From here on, black basically has two good moves to support his d5 knight. First is to move his knight to b4. This move not only supports his other knight, but it also threatens to capture the c2 pawn to double attack the white king and rook. Your next move here should be to play pawn a3. You must be wondering, why are we playing this move? Let me explain the idea behind this. Look, our main aim here is to open up the game since the black king is in the center. By playing this move, we are forcing the knight on b4 to move and hence weakening the support behind the d5 knight, which is guarding the black king. We just want to move this knight right away because if we wait, black will easily move his pawn forward on the next move and support his knight on d5. Plus our rook is not that important because it is not that active. So this is actually a very good move considering the situation of the game. Now moving forward, the obvious move for black here would be to capture pawn on c2 and give check. After you move your king to d1, black knight will capture your rook on a1. This is completely fine. Now you have to capture the knight on d5. As you can see now, the black king is very vulnerable. In the next move, we are threatening to give double check, by which we could then capture the rook on a8. Therefore now black will have to move his king to d6. Your next move should now be pawn to d4. As I mentioned earlier, the idea behind this is to open up the black king and to then bring your bishop and rook into play. If black captures your pawn, then you can give check by playing bishop to f4, and then once the king moves, you can easily capture the pawn on c7. This would be a very bad position for black and you should easily win it from here. Okay, so now let's suppose if black plays his bishop to e6, then you should move your rook to e1. Again, now you can see we are putting additional pressure on the e5 pawn. There's no good way in which black can save his pawn. Soon we will be able to break through and attack with all our pieces and ultimately win the game. Now let's go back and see another variation. We discussed the possibility of knight to b4. Now what if black plays knight to e7 in this situation? He's supporting his knight on d5, plus he has also the option of playing pawn to c6 to support his knight. But if you look at this position carefully, you will see that black has cramped his own pieces. He has blocked his queen and bishop and hence he is way behind in his piece development. So what you should do now is play pawn to d4. He can't capture the pawn because if he does, you will capture his knight, he will recapture and then queen e4 check. And then as soon as the king moves, you can capture the knight and open up the game and win easily. So going back, the best move for black in this position would be pawn to c6. This way he is strengthening his knight in the center and also opening up his queen. Now your next move should be bishop to g5. This is quite a natural move. The knight on d5 is already pinned because of the king and now you are pinning its defender knight to threaten the queen. Black will try to remove your bishop by playing pawn h6. You can then capture the knight and black will recapture. Now you can bring your rook into play by castling. This would be a really attacking position for your rook. Once you capture this pawn, you can open up the d file for your rook and just demolish your opponent by attacking with all your pieces. These are just very natural moves that you need to follow. No need to memorize them. You're just following the basic chess principles. You're bringing all your pieces into play, exposing your opponent's king, and then opening up the game to attack. So that's the basic strategy that you need to follow. Now let's just go back to the initial position and check out another variation. This is highly unlikely, but since it is a good move, let's discuss it quickly. In this position, let's say black plays knight to a5. Black is trying to threaten and move your bishop off this diagonal in order to release some tension. But then you can play bishop to b5 check. For black, bishop to d7 is not a good option because after queen e2, if bishop captures, then you can easily recapture and fork the knight and king. So black will have to play pawn to c6. Then you capture with your pawn and black recaptures. Now you should play queen to f3. If you evaluate the position now, you can clearly see that white is a pawn up and also he is ahead in development. This is actually a very good position for white, which can be further developed to ultimately win the game. So that's it guys, hope you enjoyed this chess video. Don't forget to like this video if you found it useful. Hit the subscribe button below to enjoy more such chess videos. For some interesting chess tips, tricks and puzzles, you can like my Facebook page. Links are in the description box below. Thanks for watching and I shall see you soon.